So I came to the States 4 years ago for college. And I went to Green River Community College in Auburn for 2 years, and I moved to Eugene, Oregon to go to University of Oregon. So I graduated from DAX. And then I moved back up here again. So I would like to share my testimony with you and how I came to know Christ in the States. Before I met Jesus, I experienced lost love with unfaithful people, a lot of brokenness, and I was hurt emotionally and physically. And, okay. Do you hear me well? Okay. I thought only weak people followed religious. That was my, I was biased. Only the weak people followed Jesus or any kinds of God. And I believed that the God existed, but I didn't know which God. So I had this question, like, what kind of God was I worshiping? And I realized I was worshiping something different, society. I was worshiping society and my parents and ancestors. And also, if you have been to Japan, if you probably have seen the people at the station that they ask you for money and they say that they will use your donations for the different causes, global causes, or to help less developed countries. But those monies are not used to help those people. There are also munis and cults in Japan. And my parents, me myself, believe that they're Christians. So I grew up in that culture and the environment. So there are a lot of brokenness. But I still thought that believing in religion is embarrassing. I could not get out of that spot. I was stuck. And I felt very embarrassed even to go to the Bible study. So I had many barriers to accept Christianity as international student in the States. I had a question when I was having a Bible study through ISI, the International Student Ministries, and I was in Auburn. And we had an International Student Ministries group down there, and I was involved. And I had a question, do my parents go to hell if they do not follow Jesus? I don't want my parents to go to hell. I wanna see them in heaven as well. And do I ever see them again? I had the questions like that. And also, what it's like to follow Jesus in the States? I thought the Christianity is about American culture. Like I came to the States and, I would like to learn about Western culture, American jokes, and, I wanted to put myself in that American culture. Also, my parents, I still had that, belief that, my parents, ancestors are the God. They are the ones who controls my life, and they are the ones who, give me what to do. And so and besides that, I always cared about what other people thought about me, and I was always following what majority of people think. So I was worshiping society, and then that became my standard. And I realized the good people in Japan, in Japanese society, the good people are the people who do not bring a change into the society. And bad people are the ones who do not change. I had that mindset. And that was my life before I met Jesus and came to know who he was and what his love is about. However, through the international student ministries, ISI that I'm part of right now. And the people at ICF, International Christian Fellowship, the people were so nice. You know, actually my motivation to keep going to the Bible study was curry, the Japanese curry. They offered me curry, free Japanese curry, and they're like, "Why don't you come? Like, we made a curry," and that was my motivation. If there's no curry, I wouldn't have gone. Yeah. Seriously, I was talking to yeah. So, at the community of ICF, there was a community that I needed. There was the care and the love that I wanted as international student in the States. I was going through struggles. I was still experiencing the lost love with unfaithful people. But those people, like, you know, oh, just come on in. You know, why don't you have a curry? And at that time, I was only Japanese student at ICF, and I was like, oh, I can have curry, like how much, you know, like as much as possible, you know. I was just so happy. That, you know, gives me a joy. And there are a lot of student groups at, you know, every college and university in the States. There's so many, you know, Japanese student association. There's so many student, you know, groups. And in ICF, it's a community. It's very warm. You know, people are always nice and willing to give and willing to get to know who you are. And so I was touched by the love that they're giving through that comes from God. And also they cared for eternal friendship. And so I started being interested in the Bible. The Bible, that's the best seller in the world. You know, it's translated in many different languages, and I was just so amazed by just one fat book like that, you know. And I forgot about a Japanese curry at that time, but by the time I was so into the reading, and God was also faithful enough to provide me a financial support when I was going to the college in University of Oregon, and I was also involved in InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And I was having a hard time. I thought was not able to continue my education, but the God provided me the financial support, and He also gave me a job. Then I was able to graduate last year. Woo! Woo! Grace of God, grace of God. And I would like to share my current situation and challenges as a Japanese Christian before I close my testimony. I'm on God's mission. I'm sharing the love of Christ with international students at my house. We have 8 students coming from different countries, and we have introductory Bible studies. Also, I have an opportunity to worship God at work. I currently interning at World Vision. It's an NGO company that's in Federal Way, Washington, and I'm able to serve the community and save the children. My motivation comes from God. Also, I am going to Japan next month. I'm excited, but I'm nervous because my parents hate me now because they think I've gone crazy. Like, you believe in Jesus? They think that I'm not a good daughter. So I know that there will be a lot of challenges and struggles that I'm going to be going through. But going to Japan is God's will. So I'm going next month. From March to June, I will be in Japan, Nagoya, If anyone going to Nagoya? And I appreciate if you can keep me in your prayer as I go to Japan. And a lot of Japanese students, including my Japanese friends in the States, they come to know Christ in the States, but once they go home, they don't have a place to grow spiritually, and they don't have a place. They don't know which church to go, and the last time I went home was 2 years ago, and I was not able to get connected to church. But this time, I believe that God is with me, and He's a provider. He's going to provide me resources and the people that I can get connected to church, and I really appreciate that. And I'm not sure if God is calling me to be a missionary in the future, but if God is calling me to be a full-time missionary in Japan or anywhere in the world, I would love to be available for Him. Okay, thank you so much.